Attack on Israel are still emerging, and they are shocking, particularly the reports of violence against civilians, including children. Israeli forces have also tightened their long-standing blockade of Gaza. Even as the death toll continues to rise, joining us today is Malka, former ambassador of Israel to India, who will help us understand what is happening on ground and also implications of the war on global diplomacy and world economy. Dr. Malka has served as the Director General of the Ministry of Economy and Industry in Israel. He now works as the Executive Chairman of the Haifa Port Company owned by the Adani Group. Thank you, Dr. Malka, for speaking to NDTV.
Good morning, Vasuda, and thank you for inviting me, for having me here with you.
So now that Israel has formed an emergency wartime government and also stepped up its offensive in Gaza, we also saw that IDF has bolstered troops and tanks along the border. The reservists have also joined. There are speculations of a possible Israeli ground incursion into Gaza. What, according to you, is Israel's strategy in the coming months likely to be? Well,
I might not be able to elaborate about the strategy because it's being forged anyway now. Now, as you well mentioned, that we have an emergency government, which is a united government. But I can tell you what the goals are, what are the targets of. And the targets is total elimination of the military and governmental capabilities of this Hamas, this terrorist organization. So these are the goals. This is what we're going to achieve. It might be in different ways. I cannot elaborate on that, but this is the goal and this is what is going to happen. And it's much time and means that it will require.
Right. So we know that your country has promised a sustained and a long-drawn campaign, but help us understand, how will Israel define success in this case? Will it just be putting an end to terrorism by Hamas, something that you mentioned right now, or also taking control of Gaza?
Well, as I said, we know what our targets are, and until they are accomplished, we'll do whatever it takes. It might be this kind of other kind of controlling this, the area, the population. What we need to understand, and people in the world should understand, that Hamas is not the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people in Gaza are a hostage. They are hostages of this Hamas organization, extreme organization that is holding them with power and using them as human shields to defend himself and his ideology, his cruel ideology. This is a very cruel, fundamentalistic organization. When we saw the deeds of ISIS, we thought this is how far as the cruel humanity can get. But then we see that Hamas is even exceeding that. The cruelty, the malicious things that they are doing, what they are doing to civilians, to children, to women, murdering, and then abusing bodies, raping, decapitating people, and tying children together, whole family together, and then shooting them one by one so everyone can see, burning them alive, whole families burned alive. And we see them laughing. So this cruelty, this is something that the world understands should not exist. This is not humanity. This is something that we cannot really understand how we get to this situation, but it's based and it's coming from some ideology. Now we are seeing those terrorists that were killed, and we see what they had in their pockets, what the ideology, what are the instructions that they had, how to kill and how to abuse, in what way, and they came with so much evil, so much cruelty. So we understand that this is something that should be eliminated for the world. And as I should stress, this is not a war between Israel and this extremist organization. This is a war between the free world and the fundamentalistic world that is trying to change the order of the free world. This is what we are facing now, and this is what Israel is fighting now. So Israel is now in the front, but the whole world, the free world, is fighting for its principles and values.
Right. Dr. Malka, I'll come to the brutalities of Hamas in a bit, but tell us, we saw Israeli Defense Forces, which is the IDF, on Wednesday said that its Air Force launched a strike on the Lebanese terrorist group Hezbollah's lookout position in retaliation for cross-border fire. What kind of threat do you see from Hezbollah and other splinter groups? Do you see this war becoming bigger, involving more players? And this is something I ask because Jack Sullivan has also talked about the involvement of non-state actors.
Yes, well, there is some possibility that another front will open. I think personally, I don't have any any official statement now, so it's only my personal view. The likelihood for this to happen is not high. It's not zero, but it's not high. Since this organization that you mentioned from Lebanon, the Hezbollah, they know exactly what the payment they will pay if they'll try, and they understand that they should not. It will be maybe their last mistake that they will do. Other countries and organizations see what's happening. They understand that Israel is very strong. We're fine by surprise, but we are not surprised anymore. We are so very well prepared now, and we can use all our mighty force now. So I think they should think twice before trying to open a new front with us.
Right.
So now we are focusing on the south, on Gaza. We will do whatever needs to be done. The spirit of the Israeli people, the unity of the Israeli people is something that is remarkable, that is heartwarming, but this is how we are in times of crisis. And this unity and this ability to really do whatever it takes, whatever it needs, and get all the support, a very wise support to do whatever it takes to eliminate Hamas, makes us so positive and so confident that we are going to achieve our goals, and this kind of things will never happen again.
Right. But the longer the fighting drags on, the greater the chances are for the violence to spread to West Bank or Lebanon. That seems to be the understanding. And would you agree that there is a possibility of that?
Of course there is. And what I'm saying that we are very well prepared. The only achievements that our enemies got were due to the fact that we were surprised. We will investigate it later. How come we were so surprised? But if Israel is not surprised, I don't think that anyone that is reasonable will initiate to open a new front with us.
Right.
Now we are very well prepared. We drafted all the reserves that we need. All the power is Israel is very ready now to eliminate any attempt to attack us or to our civilians or our military. So I will not suggest anyone to even try. And I think you heard, I'd say, the unprecedented statement of the President of the United States saying just don't, because they understand what will happen. It will be the last mistake of those that will try to do anything. So this is why I think that it's a very low, although they have, the motivation and the willingness to do so, but if they're reasonable, they will not try us. So I think the likelihood for opening a new front, there might be incidents which like we are now experiencing, and some incidents on the borders just, to express their support to the Hamas, to this fundamentalistic organization, but it's not more than that as of now, at least as of now, but I think that this will be the case also in the coming days.
Right. So let's also talk about the horror of the attack and the cruelty and the brutality that Hamas unleashed on Israel, and also what's happening in Gaza. So over the weekend, there have been unspeakable images of whole families shot in their homes. This is something that you've also talked about, kidnapping of Israeli children, women, youth, and even elderly people. So has this incursion exposed Hamas for what it is? I was listening to an anchor yesterday, and she was talking about how the Hamas fighters fought like kamikaze, as if like this is their last battle. So do you think that this attack has also exposed Hamas to the world?
Yes, exactly. But this is what we were saying for a long time, and the world didn't understand, and didn't have the capacity to understand how deep it is, how strong. But I think that ISIS was the first time that the world realized how long and how far cruelty can go with this ideology, this religious ideology. And this is not Islam. Don't be mistaken. This is not Islam, and this is not even the Palestinians. I have Islamic Palestinian friends. We have such good relations, warm relations. I would say these are not Islam. These are extremist fundamentalists that come with some cruel jihad ideology. And now that the world understands what it is about. They are, from my point of view, brainwashed people. Only a brainwash can do this kind of evil, of cruel things to others, to children, to infants, to kill them in their beds, to slaughter them, to burn them alive. What kind of mind can not do, even think about these kind of things? This must be a brainwashing ideology that the world should eliminate. This should not be part of humanity. This is not humanity. Humanity should not get there. So I think that now Israel is in the front, but the whole world, the free world, is fighting for its order and for its values.
Right, sir. So more recently, after the Israeli retaliation, there have also been horrific images of loss of life, hospitals and relief camps coming from Gaza. So there is clearly a humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza too. Does that make your strategy more complex because there is a talk of siege that is intensifying?
Of course, it's very complex because Israel is a country of law. We have our values, and we follow our values, and we will do everything we can not to damage or not to hit or not to target any civilians or innocent people. So, which makes it much more complex. Otherwise, it was not very complicated for Israel just to wipe up Gaza. But we don't want to do that. We want to fight only those that we understand that are having their own people as hostages, using them as human shields. They are hiding behind their children. They are hiding in schools, in hospitals, behind their children. So this is what makes it so complex for us. Right. But we are going to keep although what happened was really devastating, we are going to be strict to our rules, the rule of law, the rule of humanity, the values of humanity. So we are doing as much as we can not to hurt the innocent people, which makes it, and we put in risk our soldiers. Our soldiers that are in risk just because we want to protect innocent people. Yeah. And this is something that the world should understand.
Right. Dr. Malka, talking about the hostage situation, which is really concerning. In 2006, Israel had a soldier taken captive and held in Gaza, and it took almost 5 years to get him back, and Israel did it in exchange for 1,000 Palestinian prisoners. What cost is Israel prepared to pay to get its hostages back?
Well, we don't really deal with it as of now. We understand that the equilibrium, the formula should be changed. It has to be changed. We cannot anymore continue with this kind of negotiating. If you want to keep on living in this neighborhood, this is tough and violent neighborhood. So we understand that, we internalize that. We try to outstretch a hand for peace, and this hand was beaten very strongly. So now things are going to be changed. They are not going to see and to feel our other hand, which is a strong fist. So we are not dealing with the hostages. We are putting them aside. We understand that we have this goal. We have to achieve this goal, no matter what it takes. And only after that we'll see what we are going to do with the hostages issue, which is a big concern of us, a big concern. If you understand, I think you Indians understand the solidarity in Israel, because as I always say, and I said, and I realized and understood it much deeper when I was ambassador of Israel in India. We have a very similar emotional structure. We, the Israelis, the Jews and the Indians, our values, our friendship values, our family values are so similar. So we feel totally committed to those hostages that are now being kept up. I mean, we see them accountable for them. So we'll do whatever it takes to release them, to bring them back safe home. But on the other hand, we will fight Hamas as if there are no hostages as of now.
Right.
Just to see that we reach the goals, because we cannot enable this monster to continue living. We cannot, the world cannot afford it.
Right.
This is something that we should eliminate as fast as we can and as dramatic, as intensive as we can.
Right. Dr. Malka, Israel has directly accused Iran of supporting Hamas and called this an attack on the free world order. Help us understand this.
Well, if you see in a bigger perspective what is happening in the region, which impacts all the world. Let's go just not far back, just for the last convenient of the G20 in New Delhi, just a few weeks ago. And this statement of few free world countries, India and the United States leading this IMEC, this new corridor that we are going to open from India to the West, to Europe, and then to the United States, which will change dramatically the supply chains in the world and will enable India to even to supply perishable products that are so needed in Europe. And Israel is the gateway for India to the West. We saw that the Adani Group, which I so much appreciate, that bought Haifa port, understanding and seeing, having a strategic vision, understanding where the world is going on. And we see that the relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia are coming very, very close. So I think that the Iranian perceive that as a threat for them. This will be a big achievement of the free world, enabling India to open a new corridor from through the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Haifa port, Israel, to Europe, and then to the United States. They see it as a threat. And I think this is one of the main drivers of this assault on us.
Right.
Trying to stop that. And the Iranians declare that they will do whatever they can in order to stop this warming relations and the ability of Israel and Saudi Arabia to forge diplomatic relations and to open this corridor, which is needed so much for the world.
Right.
Thinks, what is the impact for India if we decrease in 16 days the supply time of products from India to Europe? What is the impact? What is the impact on the region, on the world economy?
Right.
It's a big, big impact.
Right.
So I think this is, if we want to see what is the regional connection to this assault, so this is it.
Right, sir. So talking about the fallout of this war on the economy, the cost of the war, seems also very significant, because you have the reservists joining in, and that is about 3 lakh, and they must leave jobs, and you're also looking at restoration of infrastructure, and there is a long campaign, and of course there'll be costs of rehabilitating soldiers. Or what kind of impact are you looking at, the kind of impact on the country's economy that you speculate?
Well, Vasudha, I might surprise you, but I see a very positive impact. Given the solidarity of the Israeli people, the spirit of the Israeli people, and even the history, we saw that after this time of crisis, everyone was so engaged, so enthusiastic, so positive energies came in. So if you see our history afterwards, there was a bloom in the economy. Now the world, the economists in the world, and I myself, my PhD in economy, we see that the leading methods of economy, theories of economy, are talking about the behavioral economy. The spirit of people, they're emotional when they do their economy. So try to think of a whole country that is engaged, new energies, positive energies, building, blooming, and I think that this will bring Israel economy even to greater heights that it has ever been. This is also what history shows. We are going to win, that's for sure. It might take more time, less time, more means, but if we look at the long perspective, this for the economy of Israel will do only good. And only, of course, also we are talking, when you talk about economy, we talk about risk management. So we're going to eliminate a big risk on the Israeli economy. The Hamas was always a big risk. When we were, counting the risks of every economic initiative, we saw Hamas and their leadership, extremists on our borders as a threat, as a risk. We're going to eliminate one of the main risks. This is something which is good for the economy. So after we win Hamas, and after we open this corridor that we are talking about, Israel will be the gateway of India to the West. I think this will do so much for all those countries on this IMEC initiative that India is leading with the United States. And this is also, I think, a reflect of how India comes to the front of the global countries. They're leading the world to some new initiatives, especially economic initiative. And together, Israel and India, I think we will manage to do this and to change dramatically the supply chains of the equilibrium of supply chains in the world. And this is only good for the economies, and especially to the economies of those countries that are building this supply chain.
Right. Let me remind my viewers that Dr. Malka is also the chairperson of the Haifa Adani port, which is owned by the Adani Group. NDTV is also owned by the same group. Sir, one last question and I'll wrap up. What kind of how do you feel about the support that India has given you, and also the kind of statements that US President Joe Biden has come up with? What kind of impact do you see this on your country's allies, alliances with other countries, and also what kind of impact do you see this having on Middle East diplomacy, something that you've talked about earlier?
I think in these times of crisis, you really understand who are your friends, and you really need your close friends. If I could have, shared with the audience now how much support, unwavering moral support we got from our Indian friends. A personal letter from Mr. Gautam Adani that I so appreciate, that have so many things on his mind. And he wrote a letter supporting us in so heartwarming manner. All the leadership of Adani company have signed a support letter supporting Israel, saying we are with Israel. You heard was your Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stated that India is standing with Israel. It's so heartwarming, so encouraging, and for us, we understand who are our real friends, and Israel knows to appreciate their friends and to be there alongside them when they need them. And and I don't need to mention Kargil and other incidents in the past, so you understand this is exactly where friends reflect their friendship and the fact that. Regarding the United States, yes, this is an ally, this is a brotherhood between Israel and the United States. I think that the United States and also India understands that the only democracy in the Middle East is Israel. So if we want to support the free world, the values of the free world, so Israel is there and is a crucial part of these values of free world in the Middle East. So I think that this is an unprecedented support, and it's not only by words. If you see now the ammunition that is coming now, the massive set of ammunition that's sent from the United States to warships, airplane carriers that are coming from the United States here and are now in the Mediterranean, ready to act if they need it. This shows, I think, the solidarity, the friendship, and thank you.
Yes, right, sir. Right, Dr. Malka. Thank you very much for speaking to NDTV and putting things in perspective for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a nice day.